What if thought leaders from around the university came together to discuss state-of-the-art remedies to 21st century challenges? From the Center for Online and Continuing Education, this is Faculty Lounge Live.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Faculty Lounge Live. My name is Alex Jang and I am the project coordinator here at the Center for Online and Continuing Education. I have with me today Brian Montalvo. If you can introduce yourself.
Sure. Hi, I'm Brian Montalvo, and I am the Assistant Vice President of Career Services here at Florida Atlantic University.
Today, we're going to be discussing two AI tools, Jobscan and Big Interview. Let's jump right into our first tool, Jobscan. If you can give us a brief synopsis of what it's about.
Sure. So Jobscan is what we consider a premium career resources. There are several of these across the FAU Career Center. Jobscan focuses on really helping our students to optimize one of the most important documents they're going to have to create over their 4-year career at Florida Atlantic, and that is their resume. So Jobscan is really about helping them to sell themselves in the right way, build what they used to call years ago a qualification brief, and really give them, I think, a competitive advantage as they're applying to jobs electronically, as most of our students tend to do.
What is something that students should know about Jobscan right from the get-go?
I mean, to be honest, one of the things that our students need to understand right from the get-go, and even our faculty, is that this is a tool that a student can use day one. It's not a tool that they should be waiting for to become a senior or actively applying to a position, whether it's part-time, internship, or a full-time role. They should be using this tool from the get-go. The tool is fully infused with AI, which means a student has the ability to take the tool, put in their actual resume, however it exists today, put a job they're applying to, and allow the tool to then figure out some kind of key terms, match up certain skill sets, and give our students a real kind of feedback in terms of this is what's missing, here's what you need to add. A lot of resumes go through an applicant tracking system. We call this an ATS. And submitting a resume into an ATS without a tool like Jobscan could put you at a deficit. So we want students to build their first professional resume almost out of the gate. So I don't need them to do it semester one, but by their second semester, once they've acquired what we call their college sea legs, that second semester, they've been here at least for one semester, go in and build that professional resume, use a tool like Jobscan, and when they are ready to actively apply, they don't feel that pressure to have to go in and try to piece all this together. The tool would be at their disposal to be able to use.
What do they have to provide to go into it? Like you said, just the resume as is, or
Yeah, so Jobscan actually will do a couple things for our students. So you may have a student who's never ever done a resume, and that's okay. Jobscan has a resume builder. They can plug in attributes, they can plug in past experiences, they can plug in volunteer work, whatever it may be, and it'll start to slowly build out their first resume. Now, if they've got a document already, one they've used in high school or one they've used at a different institution or they use with us, it's going to maximize what the document can and should look like. Now, when you pair Jobscan with a credentialed professional staff member at the Career Center, that's where a lot of the magic tends to happen.
Right.
The nice thing about Jobscan is instead of us having to repeat ourselves over and over again, hey, this is where the education section goes, here's how you draft bullet points, make sure you have action verbs. Jobscan, the AI, does a lot of that work for us, allowing us to have a much richer conversation about the future of that particular student, what they're applying to, why they're applying to it, how are they applying to it, and their document we know is going to be primed and ready for wherever they're going to send it to.
What's one of the most surprising things that you've experienced using and exploring Jobscan?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think how easy it is, to be honest. So any student can log in, any faculty can log in just using their fu.edu. It's highly intuitive. And for me, what's really nice about it is it's not just about the resume. So a lot of applicants, a lot of students are going to apply for jobs electronically, whether it's in Handshake or other outside tools like Indeed, etc. Jobscan also allows our students to build out their LinkedIn profile. We're seeing LinkedIn get used more and more, and it has the ability, once you have the document, to go into a LinkedIn portion, what they call the LinkedIn report, as you can see on your screen. And it really kind of goes deeper into what components should be included in that LinkedIn to make that student present themselves in a professional way. And when I say professional, I don't mean that they were unprofessional before, but a lot of students only see themselves as strictly a student. And with these kinds of tools, some of our guidance, we're telling our students, you've got to start seeing yourself as not only a student, which is incredibly important, and you want to have that focus, but in addition to that, see yourself as a professional in training. And to do that, you've got to have professional tools like the resume.
That's such an incredible and unique tool. I don't know many, even regular softwares and tools that can enhance your LinkedIn profile, and it's such an underrated advantage to have in the job application process, like networking and everything.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's really a leg up. So if a student is out trying to build their professional network, LinkedIn's a great way to do that, but you don't want to just go on LinkedIn cold. You want to make sure you're highlighting the right skills. There are a slew of skills that employers are looking for. These skills are in demand. Jobscan recognizes that. It takes the experience you've had. It takes all the resume, all the documents, and it really says, hey, these are some of the skills that you want to emphasize a little bit more based on what you're applying to. So a lot of students take more of a broad approach to applying. So they'll have one document and they'll say, here's my resume. Let me send it out to 25 different companies and hopefully one sticks. Well, what Jobscan does, it takes some of that work out. It says, all right, let's look at the one particular job you're applying to, and let's customize your resume to that position so that employer feels like they're applying to them, not that they're applying to 300 to 400 different jobs, but more so customize their past experiences to where they want to go next.
And you mentioned it's easy to use, but is it also fast? Like students, they're applying to so many jobs. What's the turnaround?
It's very quick. It depends on the student how long they want to spend with it, but you can pretty much draft an entire document, soup to nuts, work with one of our professionals. Less than 30 minutes, you have a printed document, something for us to work off of, something for us to continue to improve. The nice thing too is it's going to save on their profile. So as they continue to have these rich experiences at Florida Atlantic, they take a lab course, they have a capstone project, they do experiential learning, whatever it may be, it's very easy to go back into their Jobscan profile and update it. And the system itself will continue to roll out just a better document for them.
That's awesome. How can students get access to Jobscan? I know it's a little bit free.
It's absolutely free. There is no cost to anyone on our campus. It's fully available online, 24 hours, 7 days a week. A student can log into our website. So just go to the Career Center's website. Under resume tools, you'll see Jobscan. You can click in, log in using your fau.edu. And from there, you can start the building process. Or just walk into our center. We offer drop-in hours. Just literally walk in and just say, hey, I need help with my resume. I've heard about Jobscan. How do you get me set up? And we're more than happy to walk a student through that process.
That is so exciting. For anyone in the online audience, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and we'll have our online moderator ask them. But for now, we're going to go ahead and switch to Big Interview, the next step in the job application process. So after you've got the resume, what's the next step? What's our next tool?
It's the interview. I mean, this is one of probably the most underutilized tools. Everyone just thinks that, well, I can hold the conversation as we're doing that now.
Yeah.
I know how to talk, so I don't need to necessarily practice for an interview. But interviewing is a very different process than having a casual conversation, chatting with friends, chatting with family, even chatting at work. There's an art form to interviewing, and the more you practice this, the better you become at it. And it's really imperative that a student practices their interview regardless of the job they're applying for. The resume gets you the interview, but the interview can really help you land that job. And I find that a lot of students will spend a lot of time on the resume, but not enough time on the interview. So for us, it was important that we invested in a very good tool for our students. And this is where Big Interview comes to play. So Big Interview allows our students, again, to use AI and to practice interviewing from the comfort of their home 24/7, anywhere they have internet access, whether they're on a phone, as you can see in the image, a laptop, whatever it may be, and they can literally go through the mechanics of interviewing. The nice thing is Big Interview allows our students two different things. One, you have the ability to get feedback directly from a career practitioner in the Career Center. So they have the ability to do that. But more excitingly, they have the ability to get direct feedback and instant feedback from the AI. And the AI will provide all kinds of feedback, from the way they broke eye contact, they're overselling, underselling. They may have, like I just did right now with the too many vocal fillers. All of this is going to get counted. They're going to get a score. They're going to be told, hey, this is where you are right now. And here are some things you can do to slightly improve this interview score and just become a much better interviewer. The other really nice part of it is that there's a slew of questions already built in, meaning if I'm a student, I'm applying to medical school and I want to do a medical school type interview, you have the ability to select that. You can select how difficult you want the interview. If you want a panel interview, you can literally customize this by the industry you're applying to. So you're getting a very real experience before you show up to the interview. Interviews can be high anxiety, they can be stressful, but the more you practice these, the easier this becomes. And having a tool like Big Interview that not only keeps your score, provides you instant feedback, tells you how to improve, but it's got at least 7,000 to 8,000 questions built in. So it's really a tool that a student can never exhaust to its fullest.
How easy is Big Interview to use for the first time, interviewer?
If you can use a laptop or an iPhone, you can pretty much use Big Interview. Just like Jobscan, it's really about just plugging in your fau.edu email address, figuring out which interview you're interested in. Now, this doesn't have to be a lengthy process. A lot of our students will go in and say, hey, I'm going to a job fair. I need to practice my elevator pitch, my 1-minute commercial about myself. And something of that nature is going to be built into the Big Interview process as well.
Does Big Interview, if record and you can watch the playback, or is it live?
That's actually such a good question. Yeah. So a lot of companies nowadays in their initial screening interview are using similar softwares. So a student may be told, hey, we think you're an attractive applicant. We'd love for you to apply. Step one is to record yourself doing a video interview. So you're essentially in front of a computer. Hopefully you've got good lighting, you're dressed professional, nice background as we have today. And they're going to ask you a question, the screen goes blank, and you have to respond. Now, that can be incredibly stressful if you've never experienced that before. Big Interview will replicate that model, giving our students a chance to have that experience before they're in front of a software that's going to a potential or future employer. So yes, it's going to be just webcam based. It'll allow you to see yourself, see your nonverbals, see your eye contact, your hand gestures. I use a lot of hand gestures. Big Interview would probably tell me, hey, tone the hands down, maybe keep them, smaller or lower down. But it does allow you to view yourself, play back your interview so you can see how you did, how you sounded. Most of us don't know how we sound. We don't know our word choice. This will track all of that for our students and give them a real sense of who are they, how are they selling themselves as that professional that they're striving to be.
Well, that sounds super cool. What is a surprising thing similar to our earlier tool that you found about Big Interview that you like?
I think just how robust it is. I didn't imagine it'd be as robust as we found it to be. So the fact that you can go in and say, I'm a chemistry student and I'm interested in chemistry positions, or I'm interested in environmental sciences, or I'm interested in going to law school or medical school, whatever it may be. And there's literally a module, an interview set for whatever topic you're trying to address. That was surprising. How fast it scores your results and gives you that immediate feedback. I think this generation appreciates that. They want immediate feedback. I don't ever want our students wasting time Googling these types of tools, right? They've got a lot going on. Instead, I want them to use their valuable time utilizing good tools that we've curated for them. Everything we do is backed by a theory. We're not just buying any tools. There's a real intensive screening process. And if we ever find our tools to fall short for our students or our faculty, then there's a process to change them out. But we find so far, this one's been incredibly popular. And I can see kind of why.
How much is Big Interview for students here at FAU?
So Big Interview is going to cost our students $0 again. So a student does not have to pay for this. It's an investment we've made on behalf of our students because we do feel strongly about the interview process. They don't practice interview enough. We want to encourage our students to practice interview as much as possible. We try to recruit as many faculty as we can to help us in this venture. Again, as they're going through their student role, we want them to pivot every so often to that professional and training and utilize tools like this. Therefore, with both of our tools, we've gone ahead and built these kind of turnkey ready modules for our faculty. Right now, we're working with over 400 faculty across all of our colleges. A lot of that working with them is they're building assignments around these tools. So there's a faculty out there who's like, hey, I really want to, invest in this or integrate this into my work. We do this in a very non-surgical way. We've seen faculty have it as an assignment. We've seen it as an extra credit. We've seen it just be on a syllabi or on a Canvas site. And any faculty interested in doing that, we have turnkey ready modules that make it very easy for our faculty. There's a person on our team who's invested in faculty engagement. She's well known in the faculty community, and she'll work with our faculty one-on-one to understand what they're trying to accomplish. Because they may say to us, hey, I want to do Big Interview. And we may say, tell me more, and realize they need Jobscan first. And then let's kind of make it a part of a matriculation program to go from one to the other, have a really comprehensive and ready student.
Well, that was an awesome connection. Like, how would you connect Jobscan and Big Interview? What's the ideal flow right there, to use these two together?
I think a student has to first lay down who they are, that future professional on a resume. Resume has to come first. It's the key to everything. When you have the resume, you can easily build your LinkedIn profile. When you have a resume, it gives you that cheat sheet for how to sell yourself in that interview setting. So if I know not just here's what I did in my student position, but here's what I accomplished, here are the skills I either gained, refined, or enhanced, and that's all laid out on a resume, then the document really becomes a cheat sheet, a way for me to kind of find my way through the interview process. So we always tell our students, start now. Don't wait to have an interview, because that's where it gets really stressful. And this does happen. They'll call our office and say, hey, I've got an interview tomorrow. How do I do a practice interview? Now, I've been here 19 years. 19 years ago, we would stress out to try to get that student as quickly as possible. Now we have tools like Big Interview where we say, hey, this is not ideal, but let's start tonight. Let's do a Big Interview module. Here's what we recommend. There is a kind of introductory module, it shows you how to use the tool, talks about more of the basic questions. A lot of interviews are going to have overlapping questions. You're typically going to be asked, tell me about yourself, that elevator pitch, or tell me about a time when, so-and-so. So it's very, again, an art form, but there are some set questions that you can practice immediately and then come back in and allow us to build out a individualized career action plan. If you're this class standing in this particular industry, targeting this, that's very different than someone else who's at a different class standing. But to be honest with our faculty, we couldn't do it without them. We need everyone's support to be able to do this type of work, which is why I'm excited to be on this particular program today.
That's so awesome. What, again, would you emphasize to faculty using these programs or even pitching them to students who are interested in them?
Yeah, I would say that, one, this is not something you have to do. This is something that if you're interested in doing it, just have a conversation with us. Let us understand what you're trying to accomplish. Let us understand, what your intentions are, what does your course look like, and then let our faculty engagement specialists go in and work with you one-on-one and really build a customized plan that makes the most sense for you, for your courses, and for your students. We have a dedicated space to do this. It's called the Industry to Campus Lab, where we bring faculty to the Career Center. They have a chance to work with us one-on-one. It's a big creative space. We can brainstorm whatever needs to happen for their, to have success in their courses.
And just to, if you want to pitch these services about your Career Center and how they're integrated in kind of like your work process?
Yeah, so we've realized over the years that we had to provide services not just to our students and our alumni and our employer base, but we had to provide services to our faculty. So several years ago, we pivoted and we launched a position, Director of Faculty Engagement, run by the fantastic Jennifer Fabricius. And she's got this website where a faculty can simply reach out to us and say, hey, here's what I'm trying to accomplish. here's what I'm trying to do. And there are different ways that we can help. Again, it's very non-intrusive, it's non-surgical, it's highly customizable. So on the screen, you're seeing different ways you can engage your student with the Career Center in career readiness. So there is a Career Center Academy where we go over all of this in great detail. You can request a presentation for us to come in and talk in depth about Jobscan, do demos or big interview, or we can bring industry to campus. There's great faculty resources and essentially how do I do this kind of work within my space. And obviously we have some really cool turnkey ready Canvas modules as well for any faculty interested in integrating this work. And again, we work currently with over 400 faculty, but we're always looking for ways to expand partnerships all over our campus.
That sounds amazing. We're gonna, pause right here and wait for any questions from the online audience. But meanwhile, can you talk about, your personal experience applying to jobs and how that experience might be different now with these tools, like the different, the compare and contrast?
I wish I had these tools 25 years ago when I was actively applying, because what is done today within a 30-minute window took weeks and hours on end, back 25 years ago when I was doing this. So for me, it's nice to have a tool that's really in my pocket. It's in my corner. It's almost like having a career coach with you at all times. So back when I was doing this, if I wanted to do this, I'd have to wait for an appointment. The appointments may have been 4 to 6 weeks out. I had to be patient. I had to have a lot of lead time, where nowadays I have the ability to start a lot of this on my own. I know it's a trusted resource because my Career Center has brought it to me. And then I know that I have the ability to not just use the tool, but pair it with a certified career professional at the Career Center to really go to that next level with the resume, the interview skills, LinkedIn, or whatever it may be.
I really love how it's kind of a great tool for people who are nervous about interviewing. Yes. I remember the first step to interviewing is just putting yourself out there. And I think the jump from asking someone to help you interview is so huge, but you can start even with just big interview. And that's just the great stepping stone to the next step in confidence.
Without question, interviewing is hard.
Sure.
Most of us have introverted tendencies. I am a painful introvert, so I'm not necessarily as comfortable doing this or selling myself. Or some of us worry about, if I'm selling myself, am I being too confident, overconfident? Am I overselling? Am I underselling? Those are real questions. Those are real struggles. And the more you do this, the more comfortable you get. You find that sweet spot of not sounding just way overconfident or overselling, and also underselling, which is a real issue. A lot of our students tend to undersell. We hear things like, oh, I just did this. And we're like, oh my God, it's a fantastic experience. There's not a just. Remove the just. You did something cool that built a skill, but how do you articulate that? How do you talk about it from the lens and the context of, hey, I've done this and I can apply this to your work site, so please hire me. Having a tool like Big Interview is just a great competitive advantage for our students overall.
And it's it's so nice that it's objective, it's from an AI, because chances are your friend to practice interview with you, your parents, someone close, they're just gonna be you did great, that was perfect. They're not gonna have that hard feedback, the concrete comments that can, you can watch your recording back and everything.
So true. I remember when I was a career practitioner before I got into this administrative role years ago, I had a student meet with me here at FAU and he said, I don't need a resume review. It's an assignment. So I'm just coming because they're making me come here. And I said, well, why do you feel you don't need this resume review? And he said, well, my grandmother looked at it and she thought it was the best thing ever. I said, well, grandmas tend to do that. Grandmas love everything we do. I said, let me have a chance to look it over. And lo and behold, grandma, I'm sure was fantastic. She was lovely, but she was very wrong about how good this resume was. So I agree with you. Having something objective like an AI that's getting smarter the more we use it, it's understanding the types of industry in our backyard. It's getting a sense of the types of skills our employers are looking for. That can be a major advantage. Most of our students stay in Paradise. So the more the AI understands this is what they're applying to, these are the skills in demand, the smarter it's going to get and the better the tool will become for sure.
Yeah, to circle back to Jobscan, what's the difference between uploading a resume to Jobscan versus throwing it into ChatGPT? A lot of us, I'm sure, have
Yeah.
done that. Just a quick,
Yeah,
you know.
no, and nothing against ChatGPT. I think ChatGPT does a great job. I think you can almost pair them up, but the real difference is it's a little easier in a job scan to put your resume and a live job posting. Then the AI will actually look at certain keywords. Chat can do this as well, but it just is not as efficient, or it has a little bit more errors, or a lot more errors in times than just putting it into Jobscan. Jobscan also has a really cool feature that it allows you to save your profile, continue to build it up, and you can easily transition from the resume in Jobscan right to your LinkedIn profile, which is incredibly important. And again, it comes at no cost. Chat is great, but to get the features we're talking about, you've got to pay that $20 monthly minimum. And I don't know if I would spend that money right now. That could go towards Netflix or Max or whatever else people want to stream, and let us do the investments for them. So they're both great. They both have utility, but I do believe you start with one that's designed specifically around resume, where Chat's more open source and it's open to any topic. Jobscan, they've highly specialized in resume.
Can you talk a little bit more about Jobscan's LinkedIn feature? We kind of went over it, but that just really caught my attention.
Yeah, so in Jobscan, you have the ability to go in and either dump your LinkedIn profile or start to slowly build out that LinkedIn profile. And what it does, it goes kind of soup to nuts. It's going to say, hey, okay, what does the picture look like? Is this professional? Is the lighting good? What does your header look like? Let me suggest a couple of headers for you, which is really important on LinkedIn. Have you thought about having a summary? If you say yes, well, here's how we can build out that summary. Do you want bullet points? Do you want a narrative? This is where education section should go. Here's how you should bring in your experiences. So in a relatively short window, a student can have an incredibly professional and highly effective, powerful LinkedIn site, which is important because a lot of times employers see you on LinkedIn before they have a chance to meet you face to face. I go into a lot of circles where they'll say, oh, I feel like I know you already because they've gone on my LinkedIn page. They have a sense of what my publications were or whatever I'm working on. So to me, it's a great digital footprint, but you've got to have a very professional footprint out there. And I think faculty play a role in helping educate our students on how do you put yourself out there in a very professional way, because students are aware of social, but they're not as aware of these professional socials that can really help them network and land that next position potentially.
So the Jobscan LinkedIn tool, it reads your profile live, or
Yeah, so you can just type in your URL. It's going to read your live profile. It's going to give you a score. I believe the score is from 1 to 100. So you want to be above a 60 or 70 typically. Not anyone, I don't know if anyone ever gets 100 because there's always something you can continue to micro improve on. But it does give you an actual score range. And that is based on if your score is at this level, you're going to get 2 times, 3 times more views, and you want that visibility, right? It's the algorithms at play, and the tool will absolutely give you a chance to be able to do that in a very, very simple way.
I think having a digital footprint in today's society, especially in a professional sense, is so important, so underrated, especially if you're working in certain industries. How has your LinkedIn profile helped you with your networking and developing connections and
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, LinkedIn for me is the only tool I use on a daily basis when it comes to what you just described. It's important, I think, as you become that professional, that you're putting your ideas, your thoughts, whatever may be out in the world, and you have a chance to get peer reviewed. You have a chance to do what we call active collaboration. So if I've got something I'm working on and I put it out there and I'm able to network with someone across the country, and in some cases across the seas, the only thing that's going to happen, honestly, is my idea is going to go from here. It's going to get a little bit bigger, a little bit more refined, a little bit more impactful. And I think it helps us to really dive deeper in being that expert in our profession. So I don't know if you can do this with intentionality and have an understanding of who are the best in my field. How do I connect with them? How do I get a chance to speak with them and really dive deeper so I can become more of an expert without a tool like LinkedIn? 25 years ago when I started in this profession, it was a lot of emails and cold calling. That cold calling in some aspects has been replaced by LinkedIn. But the nice thing is before you'd have to make that phone call. Now you can lay out something ahead of time, whether it's a picture with some kind of caption, or it's a PowerPoint, or it's a document or publication, and then someone can read it and reach out to you. So now it's not as cold as it used to be. So for me, LinkedIn personally has been a game changer in many ways.
That's so amazing to hear, because I think a lot of people are hot and cold about it. They're like, LinkedIn is amazing, but I don't know if they're gonna buy into it. But now that it's so easy to enhance and create your profile with tools like Jobscan, it should be a no-brainer.
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm very biased, of course.
Well, do you have any other comments about either Jobscan or Big Interview before we wait for our questions, if we have any from the online audience?
No, it's okay. I mean, I think these are tools that are here. They're, like, as we mentioned before, they're not costing our students anything. They're constantly being looked at by our certified professionals. We want the collaboration. We want the feedback. We want folks to say, hey, I've used it. Here's what I want to enhance. Here's what I like using about it. And again, if anybody's looking to integrate these, you're not alone. Don't try to integrate them alone. Work with us. We've done this day in and day out. We've done this a couple of times already. And I know later on, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to have someone who's to do a deeper dive. And I know you'll plug that in a little bit. So I don't want to take your job. But so no, that's what I'll say on those tools.
Awesome. It looks like we don't have any questions at the moment. Thank you so much, Brian, for coming in today. It was such a pleasure. I hope students and faculty are able to find amazing use from these AI tools. But wait, this is not the end. The Florida Atlantic Career Center's Melissa Conrad will be back with us on May 16th for our Playground Friday, where she will be showcasing Jobscan and Big Interview again, in person and online. Thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you on our next episode of Faculty Lounge Live.